So today is the first day of 2024. I haven't made a video in a long time, but uh, there's something significant upcoming that I decided I wanted to make a video about. So let's get into it. So um, on the 7th of January, around the evening 6th towards the 7th of January, we have the potential for a snowstorm. So keep in mind, this is still a week out, but I've been tracking this since last week, and the models have come to a pretty good agreement that there will be some type of storm. We just need to see where the track will be and things like that. So if we look at the WPC chance of any type of wintry precipitation on the 6th to the 7th, we can see there's a solid chance in a large region of the northeast United States over here, even down to the mid-Atlantic, down towards DC. Same thing on day 7. We can see that moves into the upper northeast area. Um, and basically, the reason for this is that there has been a pattern reversal in the past couple of days. So I don't know if you guys have seen anywhere in the news, but basically there's been sudden stratospheric warming. Basically, what that means is the troposphere is where weather occurs, but the stratosphere is above that. That's the layer that generally absorbs ozone, things like that. And basically, it's warmed significantly. Not as much as it was predicted to, but it still did warm. And basically, what that has done is that has weakened the polar vortex. So basically, the pattern we had been stuck in so far this winter is that the entire United States had been flooded with warm air, and there had been just a lot of ridging because of the fact that one thing was that there was an extended Pacific jet a while ago, and the other thing was constant troughing across Alaska. And the other thing was that the polar vortex was strong, so that even when there was precipitation, things like that, there wasn't any um, like cold air to come down from Canada, because if where your cold air is supposed to come from, if it's warm over there, how's the cold air going to get over there? Yeah, so let's look at 72 hours ago. This is the EPS analysis. We can see there is troughing over the Alaska area, ridging over Canada, and this was a previous storm system that occurred. There was some rain with that. And basically, if we see, there has been some troughing building over Alaska, and currently there is a ridging building over Alaska. Currently, there's a trough over here. There's gonna be one more storm that comes through Alaska. Then there's gonna be another trough setting up, and a lot of cold air is gonna dive in from Canada across the United States due to a Greenland block paired with a ridge over Alaska, which is going to allow the cold air to pour down into the United States. And this will set the stage for a potential snowstorm combined with a system that is coming out of the southeast. So we look at I'm going to start off with the plumes viewer before I go into the actual models. This is GEFS plumes. We look at New York. Here, let's just look at QPF first. So it looks like the main precipitation event in the next week or so is going to be the 6th, 7th time frame. As I was mentioning, that's the time that we expect the storm to come. And pretty much across the entire Northeast, even down in Washington, I would say it's gonna be some type of precipitation out of this. But what we need to watch is the snow. So if we look at the precipitation type, looking at DC, it's probably gonna be some snow there at some point. At this time, that's what it seems. And let's look at the snowfall forecast. So let's look towards West Virginia first, because I would say we have the greatest confidence in West Virginia. So we look at the 7th time frame. Looks like it's going to snow. Um, what is that? It's around 7 inches, I would say, in parts of West Virginia. But again, this is just like the ensembles. Right now, we're just looking at what could happen potentially. Same thing, New York. The mean is around 5 inches, but models going as high as 20 inches is definitely probably not going to happen, and as low as 0 inches. So let's move on to the actual models to get a picture of what's actually going to be happening. So if we look at, if this would load, basically there's going to be a storm system coming out of the southeast around the 4th and 5th, and that storm system is going to just move off the coast. All right, now this is working. So watch this storm system right here. So you see that one just moves straight off the coast, right? Now here's one piece of uncertainty. The question is, how far off the coast does this get? Because some previous runs were making a blizzard for Nova Scotia, while some runs right now are making it just go into the Atlantic and merge with a low off of Greenland. So if this would actually work properly, it does not want to cooperate right now. All right, so that goes off the coast. Here's our next system that comes in off of a system that's coming out of the southwest. We can see over Colorado this low pressure, and then cyclogenesis over the Gulf. Classic setup. And we can see that this doesn't actually move off the coast, making a Miller A type nor'easter, but it moves up inland. And then it starts to shift the energy towards the coast. And then we can see a pretty solid snowfall event for Northern Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey, coastal southeast, northeast area, southern northeast. That might be a little bit confusing term. That's what the GFS is saying. We look at the European model, and it's saying a similar setup, but there are some key differences. So if we move over towards this also does not want to cooperate. So basically, if we look at the main differences, the European, at least this morning's run, was further inland than the American model, and that's because of two different things. One is that the high pressure, there's going to be a high pressure over here. That high pressure was a little bit weaker and it was a little further north. And the second thing was that the storm, you can see this is a departing storm. This one over here around the 5th, the one around the 5th, that goes well offshore. So we look, this is way further north, right? Because look at this high pressure. This high pressure is further north, and along with that storm is not pulling it further offshore because it is already so far offshore. So it can't have as much of an influence on the storm over here. So it's able to move further inland while still being pretty close to the coast, though. So that would be more of a significant snowfall event for far northern Virginia, interior Maryland, Pennsylvania, northern Jersey, and pretty much just the Northeast in general, coastal Northeast. We move to the Canadian model. We can see a similar setup to the GFS from what I remember. Yeah, but it's actually this is the morning's run, yeah. So this one is more similar to the European actually, because we look at the same thing. The high pressure is further north, and that storm from the 4th or 5th is further offshore. So it's not able to really get pulled out offshore. It still stays inland or along the coast rather. So let's just look at the uncertainty that we have with this right now, ensemble wise. We look here, this is at 132 hours out from now, the European ensemble. You can see some members along the coast while some members are further offshore. And that's really the question here. Where does it set up? Because the track is crucial. If the track is further offshore like these members, then it's going to be a snowfall event for like the I-95 corridor, this is probably the best chance in the last 2 years for a significant snowfall event in the I-95 corridor. Whereas if it stays along the coast, there is going to be an interior snowfall event. If we look at the American ensemble, it's showing a similar setup. However, this one, instead of moving north towards Nova Scotia and the Canadian Maritimes, this one moves more offshore. It moves more east-west than north-south. And if we just look at the snowfall potential, currently it is definitely too far out to determine how much it will snow. But if we want to figure it out right now, if we want to just look at some estimates, let's just look at the trends. So this is the 30th run of the GFS. It was saying pretty much nothing for coastal, just some interior snow. As we move towards more recent runs, it's been saying there's going to be a snowstorm. And basically, it was staying further north. Then what it did is it started to trend south. If you check towards these later runs, look, that's further north. and then watch it trend south now. Today's 060 run was so far south that wasn't even snowing, and even in southern Jersey, it was only snowing 3 inches. But the 18Z run has moved further north again. And again, these numbers aren't really representative of what would accumulate because the soil temperatures are still pretty warm because it has been pretty warm lately. So say it's saying it's probably going to snow 8-9 inches North Jersey. I would say probably 6 would accumulate where it's snowing 8-9 inches because of those soil temperatures being warm. So just wanted to wrap this up quickly by saying pretty much this is what the National Weather Service is saying. It bears watching, but it is way too early to speculate on precipitation types or rain/snow amounts. So basically, that is the key right here because these global models, this is still a week out, they have a bias of being right to track generally. So the storm could creep inland later in the later model trends, and it may not snow along the coastal corridor. However, again, we have to watch the storm closely and see what it can do because it has the potential to bring some strong impacts. The key things to watch are the first thing is the fourth to fifth storm that will move offshore and towards the Canadian Maritimes. If that stays closer to shore, then that'll have more of an effect of pulling the storm on the 7th that may affect us inland, and then that would cause more of an inland snowstorm. And the other thing is the high pressure that's going to be to the north. If the high pressure is further south, it'll push the storm further south. If it's further north, the storm will come further inland. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the first update that I'll have for you guys on this storm. Sorry, the video wasn't really that good, honestly, because the computer was lagging, but I'll try to make it better next time. And definitely we'll be talking about the storm more because it has the potential to be a impactful storm.